Hello, everyone. It's me, Lancer737, aka Captain Blueberry Buckaroo, or at least for now. Because, like I said, I think I might change my Brony fandom name to something else just so that people don't think my character literally is supposed to be an interpretation of me, although it has a lot of elements of me. It's not. Um, might go with the Blueberry Rider because I gotta have blueberries at least in the name. I just love blueberries. Anyway, and that will be part of this video. They have had some pretty cool MLP merch come out recently, and there's a couple that are not recent, and then there's also a couple things I have here that are not MLP merch that are either kind of influenced by it or are pretty cool nonetheless. And I had mentioned this before, but a very cool MLP product just came out, and this technically might be the only thing, excluding the MLP game that we're playing, that will be continuing on forward past the show, which, is still upsetting. The stuff we're getting is really awesome, but it is upsetting that the show is ending. And, before I get into the merch, did you hear this last special of the Equestria Girls is the final episode? It's the final one. It's very upsetting because they made it sound like it was going to continue on past the show. Now it's ended before the show is over. And even they interviewed the people that actually write for the show, and they said this was completely unexpected. They had a bunch of stuff planned. And this is just so devastating because, again, I think I've told you this before, guys, but I almost think that the Equestria Girls, I might like it more than the classic series. Not that I don't like the classic series, I obviously do, but it's just I love the story elements of the Equestria Girls a lot. It works really good as in a large story format and movie format instead of being condensed into either a 125-minute episode or a two-parter. It's hard to make a good story, but it be short, and MLP does a very good job at that. But I just really love the Equestria Girls movies. Now, like the miniature movies that they mostly have on YouTube, they're decent. That's not what I'm going crazy over. It's like Rainbow Rocks. Rainbow Rocks was an incredible movie. The first one was too, but still, for me, Rainbow Rocks was really awesome. I really loved Rainbow Rocks. The music in it and the story in it were fantastic. The the story element and the development for the characters was incredible too. The first one is really good, but you can kind of see it as just being a rehash of the first couple episodes of the TV show. Only the characters are human form, so you're redoing it, but it's still really entertaining. And then I really love the idea of humanized Alicorns. Like Daydream Shimmer looked incredibly awesome. I didn't like her appearance in Everfree Forest. Didn't like it in that. It looked a little weird. It actually looked kind of like some of the artwork they used in the knockoff episodes. But Daydream Shimmer has always... Daydream Shimmer is awesome. But Midnight Sparkle is incredibly awesome. I would love to have seen more of her because she made a pretty good villain. But yeah, the last special that came out, they count that as the final one for the series. And that's just really upsetting, at least for me. Let me know what you think. Anyway, getting to what we're talking about, this may be one of the only continuations for MLP we have, and it just came out. It is a My Little Pony the manga. I think I told you about this before, but if not, Japan is going to be making mangas now for My Little Pony. And I have to tell you, I've only read one chapter, but this was incredibly awesome. This is so good. You guys will love it. It's better than a good portion of the comics and the novels they've made for My Little Pony, and that's saying something. The Japanese are knocking it out of the ballpark. I'm not going to show it all, But I'll give you a few glances of what the story is about. And the first volume is about the multiverse, which is pretty cool. I love multiverses. Most of the stuff in the game that we're playing, well, actually, the game itself has to be a multiverse, especially since different events happen for special events that do happen in the show, or things happen out of continuity. Like if you go by the comics, the reflection story arc that we're playing right now would have happened before Twilight becomes an alicorn. But because of how it is, because of the time frame it has come out in, not only is Twilight an alicorn, but Spike has wings. And also, and this is a really cool part that I like, the alternate elements of harmony. I think they're actually not called the elements of harmony. They're called the elements of something else. I mean, not, literally something else. But she actually recruits them to help her fight Nosferatu Princess Luna. And I know you might be confused by me calling her Nosferatu, but I call her that because she has a vampire / bat theme to her, especially in the comics. It's more relevant in the comics. Anyway, just to give you a quick look, the story arc is about the multiverse, and it's incredibly hilarious, and I love the artwork here. Luna and Celestia look pretty good. They don't really look too different in manga form. Not really, which is good. Just realized there's 2 rainbow dashes there, and it looks like they're fighting. But going by the artwork, it definitely has to be when both Twilight has become an alicorn and when Spike has gotten his wings. Spike's in love. Oh wait, that's kind of strange. He doesn't have his wings in this picture, but in the first story, like I said, I finished the first chapter. He has his wings, so it definitely has to be very late in the series when this would start. Quite possibly, it may start after the end of this season. But the gist of the story is they have another reflective object that allows them to look through the different multiverses. And apparently they can talk to each other if they have this mirror. And Pinky's very interested in it. And Twilight, she likes it, but she keeps it covered up because, ironically enough, she does not like the multiverse's version of Twilight that she has run into. She considers her boring. But Pinkie Pie gets along with that universe's Pinkie Pie. And to be specific, they actually give it a name. The name of that universe is the Brownie Twilight universe, or the Brownie Pinkie Pie universe, because I'll show you this. This is a really cute, funny scene. Look, so they're talking to each other, and Pinkie Pie is like, "Does your world have salted caramel candy apples?" And the other Pinkie Pie's like, "We sure do. I love those." "No way. So do I." And then the next question is like, "Does your world have I'm having to read this through the camera. "Ooey gooey marshmallow and pumpkin pie?" "You bet we do." And "Does your world have chocolate chip mint ice cream covered double chocolate fudgy nut brownies deluxe?" That sounds awesome, actually. I want that because I'm a big chocolate chip mint kind of person. Just like, no. And then Pinkie Pie is like sad face. "Oh, that's too bad." And then she's like, "We got chocolate chip mint ice cream covered triple chocolate fudge nut brownies ultra deluxe." She's like, "Say what?" But anyway, when that happens, that's just what they refer to this universe as Pinkie Pie and Twilight, as the Brownie universe, which makes sense. I mean, because when they went through it, they could not figure out how to designate them. And that's what they're going to designate them, the brownie universe. I'm not going to spoil too much more, but she wants the triple fudge mint chocolate brownie. She accidentally breaks the mirror. So when you have the mirror, apparently there's a covering on it, and it allows you just to look and to talk to other characters in the multiverse. When you break it, you can go into the multiverse, and unfortunately, it's not stable. So this looks like it's a shout out to 20. It's either 24 or 25 pranks later, except for there is one alternate thing. The ponies in this universe are not pretending to be zombies. They actually are zombies. I'm not going to show it, but let's just say they have an episode. I mean, further on, they do some surprising things. Oh, and that does not help because they actually are zombies, and Pinkie Pie is in serious trouble. Not going to get into it. But one other thing I'll spoil. So Twilight and Spike are looking for her in the multiverse. And he finds the most ultimate universe that Evie would ever want to live in. It's this universe right here. A universe where all the ponies are just rarity. Just absolutely every single one is rarity. Every single one. Look at Twilight's reaction. That's hilarious. You can go to Rarity World later. We have to find Pinkie Pie before she gets eaten by zombie ponies. Anyway, this is awesome. Japan is doing an amazing job. And this is just the first volume. I can't wait for more. If you're in America, it's going to be around, well, over $11. If you're in Canada, it's going to be over $14. It doesn't say it, but looking at this barcode, because I have magic abilities, if you live in Britain, it should be just around 50 billion pounds. No big deal. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Another cool thing that I've gotten, this was not expected actually. My friend, sorry, I don't have a friend. I mean, I do have friends, but this does not involve any friends I have. My mom is also a huge gamer. She plays some mafia game. So she's really good friends with, giant mafia groups that are in a video game. It's not a real mafia. And one of them happens to be a brony, and she was telling them about how much I like, MLP and Princess Luna. And in the mail, just completely randomly, without me even knowing it, they got me this. A Princess Luna 3DS cover. I think I remember showing you one that I bought myself because I plan to get a 3DS someday, hopefully very, very soon. Wait, that doesn't look right. This looks like it's also something else. Well, either way, I had a different one. The one I have has Princess Luna, but it's like season 1 Princess Luna. I mean, that's season 1 Princess Luna right there, but this one's like a non-Philly season 1 Princess Luna, but it also has Applejack on it. I went with that just because, well, as much as of a Princess Luna fan I am, I figured I might as well toss in a couple of my other favorite ones into the mix, being, Applejack and Rainbow Dash. But this is still pretty cool, and it's also frustrating because I need a 3DS. Darn it. Send me your 3DSs and I'll keep them and I'll play some games. Because playing handhelds is not a problem. It's being able to have the time and the space to be able to play game systems. Which, speaking of, I know I've said this like 100 billion, trillion, gazillion times. I will be playing Fortnite. It's a given now. I have it set up. It's a good thing I didn't just up and stream it and start the game, because I didn't know you'd have to set up all these different profiles and different things to save all your progress. And I thought it would just save your hard drive. Apparently you have to have an account and everything. And it would have just recorded that, and could have been a disaster, because then a whole bunch of other people could just use my account, which, would not be good. Okay, here's one thing that is not exactly MLP related, but is still nonetheless really cool. In July, they had come out with these Oreo Marshmallow Moon cookies to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. And this is definitely Princess Luna approved. No questions asked. And it's actually very cool. It says it's marshmallow flavored. It, however, does not really taste any different than the other standard Oreos, and actually it's not purple like that, it's like grayish blue. Still pretty cool looking nonetheless, but you have different designs with them. Let's see, one will have, I think it's just three different designs. One will have space shuttle. We haven't had a space shuttle in a long time because a lot of the airframes they had up until the time they decided to retire them were too fatigued. And they think they can build better ones, a better model. Maybe they can, maybe they can't, don't know. So we're having to rely on other countries to take us up into space, or private companies to take us up into space. The next one is the first man to walk on the moon, Oreo Man. Oreo Man. He's related to Mario, but he's cream filled like an Oreo. Anyway, that's supposed to be the American flag. No stars or stripes, and it's completely blacked out. So they did a bad job. Bad job. It should look exactly like how it did when people landed on the moon first time. And the solar system's all off because you have Saturn right there. What the heck is Saturn doing there? That's just crazy. It's crazy. They can't even get the solar system right. See, it's like more grayish blue. Pretty cool with it though. It might have a different texture. Like I said, it says marshmallow on it, but it doesn't really taste different. But this is still worth getting if you still can. I should have done something earlier. I've been so busy. Doing any recordings where I can actually record and talk has been kind of difficult, because then you'll hear tons of other things from other people. This is my favorite one though. The moon and stars. That just looks really cool. I really like it. And I highly recommend them if you can get them. Might be, again, too late me mentioning this because it's past July, and I'm pretty sure they're not making any more because it's a limited edition thing. But if you can get them, I highly recommend them because they're just cool looking. Well, yeah, they're just cool looking. Might be the only reason I have, but whatever. There's been other things. Another cool thing you can get at the grocery store. There's a company called Good to Grow. They make all natural fruit juices, and they have 2 different flavors, and the different flavors have different styled bottle caps on them. And they've been picking extremely popular things to base these bottle caps off of, and wouldn't you know it, MLP is one of them. And they have 3 different ponies that you can pick from both flavors. Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy. No, I take it back, 4. Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and Alicorn Twilight Sparkle. Now, here they are. I got one of each, but I got a Rainbow Dash for both of them. This is what the Rainbow Dash looks like for, what flavor is it? Strawberry Kiwi. This is the Strawberry Kiwi Rainbow Dash. Clearly from the Strawberry Kiwi universe. And the other one was, what was it? Orange Mango. This is what the Orange Mango Rainbow Dash looks like. Now, there's 2 reasons why I think you should get this one, the Orange Mango Rainbow Dash. One, The top cap just looks way cooler. I think it's way better design, much closer to the Canon. It actually looks like something that's worth collecting. It looks kind of fancy, despite the fact that it is on a bottle cap. I'm not really digging this. I mean, yeah, it's Rainbow Dash, but it looks too cheesy to me. And it has a big white thing coming out where her head is. And the other reason is the orange mango actually tastes really, really good. This one, the strawberry kiwi, it tasted watered down. Wasn't that good. But if you're a hardcore strawberry kiwi fan, then I can't, persuade you not to drink it. If that is something you actually like, then go ahead. But if you just like fruit, doesn't matter what it is, then I would definitely pick this one, not just because of the cap, but this one actually did taste good. They're supposed to be sugar-free, completely natural. My only concern about it is normally natural things require to be refrigerated. These didn't, so there has to be some kind of preservative in it. Maybe it's a sugar-based one, even though it says it's not. I mean, it's supposed to be sugar-free. Now, the next thing that you can find at the grocery store that's clearly MLP influenced, but isn't exactly MLP, is their new unicorn macaroni and cheese. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the flavor is okay. It's like just something. The noodles are cool. The box art's cool. It actually reminds me a lot of the My Little Pony book that had come out, that is more of a picture book than it is a storybook. I mean, it has a story, but there's barely any writing in it. It has its own unique art to it that you don't see in the show and most other things. And the art is very similar to this. Just imagine that actually being Rarity, with the hair being right. But her face would have been a lot like this. Maybe the muzzle's a little bit more angular compared to this one, but this is very close to the novel. Now, if you're really wanting to eat these noodles because they're, unicorn themed, then I would recommend, I mean, it might cost more. I would recommend cooking these, but using like a deluxe cheese mix, not powdered stuff. Or if you're really knowledgeable of how to do it, which is what I normally do, actually make your own homemade cheese sauce. I have a giant cookbook. I mean, a bunch of giant cookbooks, actually, because I have to do a lot of cooking. And there's a special homemade macaroni and cheese that I've been making for years and years and years. It is insanely good. It has, any kind of cheese you want, but I usually use sharp cheddar cheese. But you can use Colby Jack or Ford cheddar. But I use sauteed onions in the cheese sauce. And I use mustard powder, salt and pepper, flour, milk, lots of milk actually, like around 3 cups of milk. I'm not going to go too much into it because you get the gist of it. I actually just flat out make my own macaroni and cheese sauce. So that's what I would really do. If you really want these noodles, you really want something that's as close as you can get to MLP, but in macaroni and cheese form, just get this for the noodles, throw away the powdered junk that's in it, and then make your own cheese sauce, or use cheese sauce from a deluxe macaroni and cheese craft box, or even Cracker Barrel. I don't normally like pre-made sauces and stuff like that, but in a quick fix, I have used Cracker Barrel, and it did taste very decent. Wouldn't have it over homemade, but it was really good. So yeah, there's that. And I probably will have a video sometime showing the process I took making it. Okay, that's a little bit weird. I think the front legs are a little bit too short. I take it back. The artwork isn't as close as I thought it was to that MLP book I was referencing. That unicorn is like going to be ramming its horn into the ground trying to walk. Anyway, another thing that is semi-MLP themed is these fruit rolls up. I can't talk. Fruit roll-ups. Unicorn tongue tattoos. Okay, the tattoo thing I would just flat out ignore. probably not a good idea to tattoo your tongue or use anything that's going to leave marks behind. But actually, this image of a unicorn actually greatly resembles one of my best friends I used to have on the Equestria Amino app. They have too many politics on there now, so I don't go there as often as I used to at all. I miss all my friends on there. But he used to have something very close to this, and it reminds me of him. Anyway, fruit candy. I just love fruit candy. So having the excuse to get these, with it being, unicorn themed, that's a good enough reason for me. I think I like the berry pool punch. I mean, sorry, berry cool. I don't know where I got that name. I think there's something wrong with me. Berry pool punch. Maybe I was trying to read two things at once. I don't know. Anyway, they have multiple different designs, and I'll show you one of them right now. I know the screen has gone black, but it's only because I've set it down. It'll be just 1 second. The aroma of it when you open it is very delightful, unless you don't like fruit things. Then I could see you freaking out. Just completely freaking out from seeing or smelling the fruit goodiness of one of these roll-ups. Okay, so on this one, you have what looks like essentially knockoff Shining Armor, knockoff Shining Armor, and knockoff Princess Cadence. Wait, that must be the wrong way. And it's sticking. It's sticking. I can't do this. Dream. I thought it said dress for some reason. But that's what I get for trying to read it upside down and backwards. Not upside down. Backwards and through a camera thing. Now, that being said, this doesn't really have anything to do with anything except for just a recommendation. Apple cinnamon toast. This is Applejack approved, believe it or not. It tasted really good. And the only thing I don't like about it is the texture. They tried to make it feel like it was actual French toast. I'm actually not the biggest fan of French toast, but it tastes pretty good. It tastes good enough that even if you don't like French toast, you should still enjoy this. And like I said, it's Applejack approved. If you like Applejack, then she knows what she's talking about. Now the next thing, apparently they had this come out. It's a picture book based off of some of the events of the My Little Pony movie, but the artwork is very different. I like the movie version of Luna's crown a lot. Looks pretty cool having some kind of gem in it. I almost want to call it a sapphire, except for I don't think sapphires are that dull blue. I think they're more vibrant usually. If I'm wrong, let me know. But the artwork in it is very, very cool. Most of these MLP books are very cool art-wise, even if they are lacking in a story. So it's always kind of nice to take a look at them. And there's a Storm King, which I'm shocked that elements of him showed up in one of the last specials that we got. I love these guys, the Storm Army. Wish, Tempest would have been able to come out, which seems like Gameloft completely forgot about. I guess you could almost, in a sense, consider this a prequel in some regards. See, this is the guys. These are the guys that are not showing up because they completely forgot about them. I know I mention all the time, but I always remember it because it always makes me angry that these really cool guys did not ever show up. See, that you can probably tell a difference. I mean, it should be pretty obvious. These are the Storm Guards. I mean, the Storm King's Storm Guards. This is Tempest, and they have a red streak, I guess, just, to keep in uniform so that you can tell specifically who's with who. But I'm pretty sure, like, if the Storm King ordered it, her own guards would probably turn against her. But either way, I just love the artwork of this. It's pretty cool. If I had to choose between only getting this book or only having the movie, well, I still would choose the movie. But, you know, if you can have both, then by all means, you should have both. Poor Derpy. Very poor Derpy. I feel so sorry for her. Who the heck is that? I don't know who that is, but they're a recolored rarity, it looks like, and they're having the worst day ever. I would definitely never, ever, ever want to be them. What's interesting here is when they're being turned to stone here, it looks like the process is kind of... Looks like when they drew it, they were like... I shouldn't say draw it. When they inked it, looks like they made it so that you could see in between, like the in between being fully, I don't know, stoned. I don't know what term to use when you're being turned to stone, but you're not exactly stoned yet. You're in the in between process. You're like not so dried quick cement. You know, I'm just gonna get off of it. None of the examples I'm using are helping in this situation. And neither is that waterfall. That waterfall has just ruined everyone's day, except for Pinkie Pie. She's like, yeah! And then, I guess he's trying to taunt Celestia with his cake. Yeah, she's like staring at it. She's like, I wish I could move to eat the cake. And then Luna's like, I wish I could move to destroy her. And Cadence is like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Why did I have to become a princess? I'm just giving a quick preview. I'm not going to go through it all. It's a very cool book. If you like alternate, tellings of the same story with different art, I recommend it. Speaking of which, they have a new version of the My Little Pony movie. With a twist. It comes with the original G1 My Little Pony. So if you're interested in seeing more G1 MLP, this is for you. I actually have seen next to nothing for G1. I do have some slight interest in it because I have heard that G1 MLP actually is good. Not as good as G4, but after seeing G2 and G3, I feel like everything has to be bad. It has to be good. If you've seen G2 or G3 and survive, well, I will give you a free cookie if we ever meet each other. Because if you ever have seen G2 or G3, that's a horrific thing to survive. If you enjoyed it, well, kudos to you. I didn't really care for G2 or G3. But I'm assuming it's pretty much everything that you would get in a normal package for the G4 movie. The G1 movie, though, is what's going to probably have a bunch of stuff that probably never existed before, just for the sheer fact that special editions, just special editions in general, they really didn't exist up until mainstream, until DVD came out. And then Terminator 2 started that. I know it's going to be kind of strange talking about, magical ponies. All of a sudden I'm talking about murder cyborg machines from the future that travel back in time. But no one really made special edition movies because there was no market for it. There was no real reason for it. No one really thought anyone would want to see alternate scenes or deleted scenes, or make special edition movies with additional scenes in it. And then the special edition Terminator 2 came out and everyone went nuts. And so that's when they started making all these movies that weren't just, just the movie and then maybe a trailer in it. They would have all these documentaries in it and special deleted scenes and other things like that. The only thing close that you get to in the past that would have been on Laserdisc, but that's not really mainstream. The difference between a DVD and a Laserdisc is a Laserdisc has a circumference probably greater than a basketball. But believe it or not, I've been told that Laserdisc still has higher definition than even Blu-ray. Possibly not more than a 4K disc. Won't ever know with that either, because that's ridiculous, because how expensive a 4K disc is. But yeah, and I've seen them before. They look like a record player, except for, it's shiny like a DVD, except for it's a giant laser disc. But they would throw in deleted scenes and stuff like that back then. But like I said, that wasn't mainstream. You had to be like super ultra insanely rich to have a laserdisc player, and then to be able to buy a laserdisc. And the last thing that's MLP related is this. I was lucky to get a hold of this because they just phased these out. It's a giant gift bag, which I'm going to be carrying all these things around in for My Little Pony, specifically the movie. They just phased them out and replaced them with a generic My Little Pony bag, which is good because, at least having something with My Little Pony still around is a good thing. I'm still, excuse me, I'm still pretty depressed about G4 going away. I love this series. It's one of the few things that makes me really, really happy. But I have 3 last things. You guys know I'm a blueberry fanatic. Well, they had 3 different sodas that are either blueberry or alternate berry themed come out recently. And I'll give you my opinion on which ones I think you might enjoy. The first one is this. It's blueberry Pepsi, or it's just called berry Pepsi with a splash of blueberry juice. So that's the reason why I more or less would rather just call it blueberry Pepsi, because the other berries in it are just artificial flavoring. The only real berry juice is the blueberry. Now, when you get a pack like this, because they're not selling them individually, it's going to be a very thin but tall can. There's the blueberry. And here's the ingredients for it. But did it taste good? That's the real important thing. It's not, what's the can look like? If the flavors are real or natural. Does it actually taste good? And I will say that it's decent. If you have a blueberry fix, but you want Pepsi too, then yeah, why not? This one's not bad. Well, it's better than not bad. It's just they all pretty much came out at the same time, so it would be difficult to pick from the 3 of them, especially when. Well, I'll show you in a minute. Another one that came out was from Coke. Blueberry Aki or Aka or whatever, however you want to pronounce that. Flavored and other natural flavors. Diet Blueberry Aki Coke. And the can for this is also, it's the same model used for the Pepsi ones, except for, of course, it's Coke instead. Blueberry, and here we go. Now, the question is, despite what it looks like, is the Diet Coke Aki Blueberry one worth it? And I'm going to have to tell you no.